in the redress movement?
Oh yes, I was involved in the redress movement.
Are we running? Yeah, okay.
You want to ask that question?
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
Okay.
Were you involved in the redress movement? And
Oh
why
yes,
and
oh yes, I testified. We had hearings here in Chicago, I believe it was 1981 or 82. But yes, I was involved in the redress movement. I might add that not only in the redress movement, but I was a named plaintiff in a class action lawsuit that we filed against our government. So I was involved in not only the redress movement of the Japanese American community, but a small group of us filed and went all the way to the Supreme Court on a class action lawsuit. We lost at the Supreme Court level, but I think this really applied some pressure to Congress to finally pass the Civil Liberties Act and to make redress payments for the wrong that was done to us.
what's the legacy of the camps in Arkansas?
Legacy of the camps in Arkansas. I think what the University of Arkansas is doing, I think, a great service to all Americans, particularly state of Arkansas and the surrounding states. Unfortunately, this is, in a sense, almost ancient history. This is 60 some odd years ago. And many of the adult population, especially young people, are not aware of what happened in 1942. The people in the state of Arkansas, I'm sure, will find out for the first time in many cases that there were 2 concentration camps in Arkansas. And I think it's important that we understand this, we know about it, so something like this does not happen again here in these United States of America.
Great. Let's turn off for a second.
Well, he was here about 2 months ago at the Chicago Historical Society. I think the Japanese American National Museum had a meeting here.
Uh-huh.
And he, I think, is on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So he was here for one day.
Uh-huh.
So I had a chance to speak to him at that time.
That was quite a battle that you guys were in that day.
Yeah, it was. We received a presidential unit citation for that. We won 7 presidential unit citations.
Did we get that on? Let's get that on camera. Ready? Okay. Just tell me a little bit about that day and the result, the incredible honors and awards that you were given afterwards.
I remember that day especially well. Our platoon, led by Senator Dan Inoue, then Second Lieutenant Dan Inoue, we were on a ridge and we were moving up in combat. And all of a sudden I could hear machine gun rifle fire and I guess there were mortars falling. And I immediately dashed behind a tree. I went circling around the tree because in the mountains you couldn't tell from what direction the shots were coming. Fortunately for me, all the action was on the other side of the ridge where Dan Inoue and the other half of the platoon were engaged in combat with the German soldiers. And it was shortly after that, when the battle was over, that our half of the platoon went across to the other side. And I remember Senator Dan Inoue on a stretcher. They were ready to take him down to the medical aid station. And he had lost his right arm. And I think at one time he had hoped to become a doctor. And of course, this put it out of the question. In a way, I suppose it was great because he went on to be a great politician, congressman, senator. I think he's probably maybe the 2nd senior senator in the state Senate now. But I still remember that day particularly well. And then about 2 months ago, he was here in Chicago with the Japanese American National Museum for a meeting, and I happened to have a chance to once again meet up with Senator Dan Inoue. Very proud of him.
Great. I think that's it. We could just do some room tone.
I do have one question. One more. During all this time, did you Did you ever wish that you weren't Japanese?
You want to ask the question, or?
You can just answer it that way.
Oh.
Just answer her question.
No, the reason is, when you do this, do you have a question so that I can respond?
No,
or-
you don't hear my question, which is why I need you to answer in full sentence.
I'm sure that all, quote, colored minorities at one time or another in their early childhood or even older, that they sometimes wish, I wish I were white. I wish I were not Japanese. I'm sure that has gone through the mind. I'm sure that as a youngster, maybe even older, that there have been times when I said to myself, I wish I did not have the face I have. But I thank God that I've reached this point in life where I'm proud of who I am. And I get more involved with other minority groups so that we can all stand up to be Americans together.
That's just awful that everybody would wish that.
It's unfortunate, as I said. I'm sure young people today, although it's changing a little bit, for example, on TV now, you see all kinds of positive images of all kinds of ethnic groups. We didn't grow up in that age. We were the bespectacled, buck-toothed Jap. And, that has to do something to a young Japanese-American person. I have to go see The Last Samurai. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
It must be something, I guess, that you never recover from.
No, I think that will all, in fact, even in my adult days, we grew up on hamburgers and Glenn Miller and Harry James and Beethoven, and I get aggravated sometimes, even though I enjoy it so much. In fact, our son sings with the Chicago Symphony Chorus, but these are all Western. And I know some Japanese songs and so forth, but it gets aggravating after a while. This is part of being an American. It would be nice if we could have more input from our other side.
Great.
Well, I appreciate this very much.
Well, thank you very much. That was a terrific interview.
We're just going to sit in silence again for another 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Record sound.